निज़ाम शमसी को बने हुए अब तकरीबन 4.6 बिलियन साल हो चुके हैं। ज़मीन की या कुरा अर्ज़ की हिस्ट्री भी निज़ाम शमसी के साथ ही मुंसलिक है। The Earth has again the history of about 4.6 billion years of age. So the upper part of the Earth is made by the process of certain phenomena, but today it is called the Earth crust, जिसे हम कुरा अर्ज़ कहते हैं। और ये कुरा अर्ज़ का ऊपर वाला हिस्सा, इसे हम पोस्ते ज़मीन कहा जाता है। इसको बने हुए भी चंद बिलियन ईयर्स हुए हैं। So it has a process of rapidly cooling and slowly cooling phenomena. Some areas are under the process of change, like the Earth surface has an history of about the volcanism, the history of about the certain agents which are in a process of changing the surface of the Earth. So when we are talking about the uppermost portion of the Earth crust, it has made by certain agents. Some agents are called the external forces, which are the water, the glacier, the ice, the coastal waves. So these are the agents of erosion, transportation and deposition. So when these agents are under the process of working, so we have the surface which is covered by certain material. So those material are today called the rocks. So is a naturally occurring aggregate of one or more minerals. For example, the common rock granite is a combination of the quartz and feldspar minerals. So when we are talking about the rock is an aggregate of minerals. So when we have the mineral, it has a combination of certain elements. The rock or the earth outer solid layer, the lithosphere, is made of the rock. Most rock in the earth crust is extremely old, dating back many millions of years, but new rock is formed due to the eruption of the lava. So here we have certain things which are very important कि कुछ जो चट्टानें हैं वो eruption से बनी हैं, यानी वॉल्केनिज्म हुआ और उसके बाद जो है सरफेस के ऊपर जो है कुछ लैंडफॉर्म बनने शुरू हो गए, एंड दोज आर टुडे कॉल्ड द वॉल्केनोज या आतिफिशियल पहाड़ उसे हम कहते हैं। लेकिन मोस्ट ऑफ द रॉक आर एक्चुअली have a history of millions or billions of years, because some phases are under the creation of the mountains, some are under the creations of the valleys. So when we have the creation of the certain landforms, those are actually made by the forces which are called the internal forces. So जैसे internal forces में जो landform बने उन्हें हम primary landforms कहते हैं या initial landforms कहते हैं, और जो एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेस से लैंडफॉर्म बने उन्हें हम सेकेंडरी लैंडफॉर्म्स कहते हैं या सीक्वेंशियल लैंडफॉर्म्स कहते हैं। सो इस तरह से ये जो रॉक्स हैं सरफेस के ऊपर कुछ एक्सटर्नल फोर्सेस से बनी है और कुछ जो है इंटरनल फोर्सेस से बनी है। बट बिफोर गोइंग टू डिस्कस द रॉक, मिनरल इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. So minerals are naturally occurring inorganic and organic substances, often with a crystalline structure. They are composed or combination largely of the most abundant element in the Earth's crust. So some minerals are very important for the creation or the making of the rock. So here we have a very good example of the element, or we can call it a rock, is a single element rock, is called the quartz. Quartz is the second most abundant mineral in the Earth's continental crust, after feldspar. There are many different varieties of quartz, several of which are semi-precious gemstones. Now most minerals have a crystalline structures, and quartz is one of the example of a very common crystalline mineral. It usually occurs as a clear six-sided prism. It is quite hard and resists chemical breakdown. Quartz and feldspar are light in color. They are mostly in white, pink or grayish in color and lower in density. So here we must know what is density. By density we means the quantity of matter contained in a unit volume. So it has a lower density, but it is like a very important mineral of the rock. Now this is the slide related to a very important element, a single element, carbon, but it is actually a diamond, which is one of the most hardest rock of the planet, and it has a crystalline shape and but enhanced by the stone cutters. So is one of the very important mineral of the planet. But this actually is a rock which has a softest mineral, is called the chalk. So the hardness of this mineral or element is lowest and it has one hardness scale, but the diamond has the maximum, it has 10 hardness scale. Now the elements are very important here. As of April 2015, there are about 118 elements have been identified. Of these, only the first 98 are known to occur naturally on the earth. Now here we have the composition of the elements, which is actually the part of our planet. The most abundant element of the planet is oxygen, which is 47% of the total element of the earth. The second most important is silicon, which is 28% of the total. And the third most important mineral, or you can say here the element, is aluminum, which is 8.1% of the total elements of the earth. And the fourth one is iron, which is 5.8, the calcium 3.6% of the total, sodium 2.8% of the total, potassium 2.6% of the total, magnesium 2.1, and others are 0.8% of the total. So some are actually the metals and some are bases. So these two categories are very important when you are dealing with the composition of the element in a rock or mineral in a rock. So most of the minerals, which are oxygen, silicon and aluminum with iron, comprises about 90% of the total area of the or total elements of the earth crust. The remaining 20 heavier elements, which are not found today either on the earth or in astronomical spectra, have been produced artificially, and these are all radioactive elements. So human has its own requirements, so that's why these 20 elements are very important in modern era.